Today, today we're going to be doing a configuration using dhcp, Vlans, and using the trunk mode. We're going to be doing a configuration using 2960 switches and layer 3 switches. So to start off, we're going to just do our physical topology. We're going to take a router, 2811, and on the left side, we're going to start out with our switches. This one here, another one here, and another one here. Okay, now we're going to connect these devices all together. To connect a switch to a switch, it has to be done through a crossover copper cable. All right, so we're going to take this switch, we're going to connect it to the fast Ethernet 1, and we're going to connect it to this main switch, and we're going to connect it to the 2. Take the next switch, connect it to the 1, and connect it to the fast Ethernet 3. Now we're going to connect this main switch to the router. So if you noticed, I left the 1 port open, so you can do this connection. And we're going to do to the router and to the first fast Ethernet. And we're just going to wait for this to load. Okay, and it's up. Now we're going to take layer 3 switches. Going to put the main one here. And put 2 more right under it. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to connect port 1 to the router using a straight through, as we did here. And with the multi-layer switches right under it, we're going to connect it to that main multi-layer switch. Fast Ethernet 1, 2, 2. Take the next one, 1, and this one's going to be 3. And we're just going to let that load. Now, what we're basically going to do, it's going to create 2 VLANs on this side, over here, and 2 other VLANs on this side. And they're all going to be being worked through dhcp. Now, just for reference, so we can keep it here in mind, we're creating a VLAN on this side called VLAN. It's going to be VLAN 5. It's going to be called and this is going to have an IP of 192.168.5.0. And the next VLAN will be VLAN 6, which is going to be called staff. And it's going to be 192.168.6.0. And for the VLAN 5, we have ports 4 through 10. And for the VLAN 6, we assign ports 11 through 19. Okay, just so we keep that there for reference. And on the other side, we can have two other VLANs. VLAN 101, which we're going to call IT. We're going to assign IP 192.168.10, 0. And it's going to be basically the same as the other one. Ports 4 through 10. And second VLAN on this side, 102. I'm going to call it support. That's support. And we have 92, 168, 102, 0. Could be ports 11 through 19. So, when you get these kinds of configurations, it really depends on how you're going to approach it. You can always approach it configuring the router first, and then configuring the switches. Or you can always configure the switches, and then configure the router. So on this side, we're going to do it switch first. So here, we're going to go into the switch, enable switch mode, and we want the full configuration. Right? In global configuration, what we're going to do is we're going to create the two VLANs. To create the VLAN, just type in VLAN and the number. And here you have to name the VLAN just to get it in order. We'll call this one sales. Right. And from here you can leave the VLAN interface, and we're going to create the second VLAN. VLAN 6. And here we're going to give it its name, and it's going to be called staff. Right. And here you can just use it in like the global configuration. And here what we can do, we can assign the VLANs, but we get the ports to the VLAN. So we have to get in to the ports and assign it by ranges. So from global configuration mode, we type in interface, and we're going to select a range, and it can be fast Ethernet, be configuring. It can be 0, and it is going to be 4 through 10. Now we're in these 6 ports. From here, we have to give access to the VLANs. Type in switch ports, access VLAN, and the number of VLAN. Here, what we just did is that we assigned ports 4 through 10 have access to VLAN 5. And from here, we exit those 6 ports. Right? Now, we're going to do the same thing for the other ports, 11 through 19. And here you can, if you just use the arrow up, just scroll through our last commands. Always interface range, that's Ethernet 11 through 19. And to assign the VLAN to these ports, switch ports, access VLAN 6. And here we have assigned the ports that we want to the VLAN that we want. And here exit. Now we have the ports all assigned to the VLAN that we want. That's good. From here, we can just do, let's just exit here. We can do a show VLAN brief. And here it's going to show us which VLANs are assigned to which ports. And we can see here, sales VLAN 5 is assigned through port 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And VLAN 6, which is called staff, ports 11 through 19. Exactly what I want. Now, since we have to give access to the other switches, and we have to get access to the router, we have to trunk the ports that are being connected to those devices, to the switches and to the router. A trunk, what it basically is giving a stamp of the packets that are going to be sent through this port, so they know which VLAN they correspond to. Okay, and from here, I have to go to global configuration mode once more. And we're going to select the range of the ports that we're going to be trunking. So if you notice here, we have port 1, 2, and 3, which are connecting port 2 and 3 to 2 switches, port 1 to the router. And these 3 ports must be trunked. So here, interface, range, fast, 0, 1 through 3. And to change these ports to trunk, switch port, mode, and here we can just place a brief description. Put switch and 3 ports are now trunked. Now here, the configuration is basically done now. But we want to turn off the ports we're not going to be using. So we have to go in to those ports and manually shut them down. So I'm just going to use these shortcuts. Go to ports 20, 24, and we're going to turn them off. Now, okay, now we also have gigabit ports that are up. We want them to be down as well. So it's going to be interface, range, gigabit. Here it's only 2 ports, 1 through 2. Shut down. And off. Okay. Now this router is done. Everything we have to do from here is already done. So we can close this one. Now we're going to go into this one to switch 2 or switch 1, depending on the order you have. And we're basically going to do the same thing again. Right? The only difference is that we're only going to trunk 1 port. So So we're just gonna do this. So we can do both. So from here, you don't have to leave the VLAN. You can actually create one from the other. It's just going to take you to a different interface. There we have the other. Here, VLANs. Now we're going to assign interface range. That's infinite. 4, 3, and assign the VLAN, which is switch ports. Access VLAN 5. Assign ports 4 through 5 to the VLAN 5. Sorry, 4 through 10. And from here we can go directly to the next range of inputs, which is 11 to 19. And we can assign 6. And there, I'm assigning VLANs. Once it's here, we only have one connection that's going to another switch. So we only have to trunk this one port. Unlike this one that we trunk 3 ports, this one it's only going to be 1. So from here we have to go into that port, interface, path, 0, 1. Let's place it to and description. Okay. Leave it. Now from here, in this router, all that we have to do is just turn off the unnecessary ports. And in this one, we are not using port 2 or 3. So I turn those off. The switch, the first switch, which we were using 2 or 3, so we didn't turn them off. Now, go to 20, 24. And now, favorite part. And 2. One down. And now we have to configure this switch exactly the same. So I'm just going to go quickly through this. Not too much chit chat. works. There we're done. And this configuration, we just have to trunk the first port. Interface. Mode. Right, and all we have to do here is just turn off the unnecessary ports. And here's got a notepad. Copy this, paste in. Gigabits. 132. Okay, so we have all three routers configured. Sorry, all three switches configured. And now we're going to configure the router for this side over here. Here, and once you go in, it's going to give you want to configure. What we do here is I'm going to create the subnets under the router. Okay, and here, privilege mode, configuration, terminal, and we'll be going. You notice here, the port that we connected this side to is port 0, which is the first port. So we're going to go into this port. And here, we're going to create the subnet. So it's going to be 0, 6, 5. Now we're in the subnet. And a very important thing here, we have to assign the IP that subnet's going to be using. So type in IP address 192.168.5.1 can be here. So that's 255, 255, 255, 0. Here, all the routers, all the 2811 routers have to have enabled encapsulation.q1.1q. If not, it's not going to let us. So if you notice here, if I put in this command, it gives me an error saying that I just can't do it. So this is because you haven't given the command encapsulate. Installation 1, 2, and 7, 6. Here, now we can type in the IP address. There it is. Do right. Now we're going to do the next subnet. It's going to be, I'm going to go to the fast internet 0/0 0.6. And same thing here, we have to enable the encapsulation. Encapsulation for this one. Okay. And the IP address. Okay, you see the images that we're getting here? It's saying that we've encapsulated twice. If you notice here, when I did the encapsulation, I did it for 6, and it was supposed to be for 5. So just to fix this, go back the interface, and we're just gonna change this. And right, IP address once more. 2, 8, 5, 1, submit, submit. Make sure you save it. And we'll go to the subinterface. 6. Encapsulate message. Change it to 6. And the IP 6. And now a very important thing you have to do after you're done creating the subnets is going in the fast internet port, the whole internet port, not the subnetted one, and turning it on. This is 1. I do. To lift it. No shutdown. Notes over here. This turned green, and this is now connected. No. We're going to configure dhcp for the site, and to go to dhcp, you have to be in global configuration mode, and just type in IP dhcp pool. Here's the first one, which is sales. Okay. Now we're gonna give it its range of IPs like it's going to use. Network 192.168.5.0. The 0, what it means, it's going to take the whole entire range from 0 of IPs. Okay, and its subnet 255.255.255.0. Okay. Now we're going to assign it a default gateway, which is going to be the very first IP, 168.5.1. And it's a DNS server, which we're going to use Google's. 8.8.8. There. First side is done. The first VLAN is done. Now we're gonna do the second VLAN. dhcp pools. And configure then the range of IPs. 192, 168.6.0, submask, 55, 55, 5.0, and the DNS server. It's the same. We've configured everything we need to have the site working now. Let's do a quick do right and see how it goes. Now we're going to connect an end device. We're going to connect two end devices to each switch. Let's just get them over here. And just so we can keep them like in order and we see exactly where we're going to give them names. First one is going to be cells 1. And HP, you can do it from here, or you can do it from here. This is going to be staff 1. HCP. Cells 2. Staff 2. And HCP. And the last one is those 3. The last step. JCP. Okay. We have our computers all named just to get them nice and ordered. And we're going to connect the first one to the port 4 on this switch. And we're going to connect this one to port 11 so we get the VLAN 6. And we'll do the same thing for each one. So it's going to be a straight through. That's internet. Port 4. That's internet. Port 11. Here. And 11. Okay. So we'll just wait for these to bring up. And if you notice on this one, go to desktop, IP configuration, and it has its IP 192.168.5.2 submask, its default gateway, and its DNS server. Now let's compare this one. IP, and it has its IP. And if you see here, they're in two separate networks. IP6, the 6 and 5. And let's just see how these are the same. Six. Great. Now they all have IPs, all have gateways. So in theory, what I can do here is I can take a packet, send it from sales 1, and I should be able to send it to sales 2, which is on a different switch, but on the same VLAN. I send it, successful. But nothing that in theory we could do, we should be able to do, is that since they all have default gateways, that I should be able to send a packet between VLANs. So if I were to send one here from sales 1 to staff 2, it should get there. But sometimes the very first packet doesn't get there. And if you notice that doesn't get there, you just have to do a quick ping. And you'll get it. It's just not to ping. I'm in sales 1 and I'm going to ping staff 2. 6.3. First one timed out. And let's see. No, let's try once more.